Punchestown, Nicky Henderson. He's already had a winner here yesterday. He gives Barry the leg up on Ronnie Bartlett's Medieval Chapel, one of 3 English winners in the Louis Fitzgerald Hotel Hurdle. If you've joined us, I can tell you Christy Roach's Master Oscar was a 14-1 winner of our opener. This is our first live TV race in Cheltenian for Philip Hobbs is your 11-4 market leader. 7-2 from 4-1 the Wexford horse. Lavant on top for Liz Doyle and Davy Russell. Carrickmore is 6-1, Sizing Granite 7-1 from 8-1 for Henry de Bromhead. Val de Ferbay is 8-1, and it's 10 and 11-1 bar. Although early this morning there was each way support for Wounded Warrior, 16-1 into 10-1, and also now each way support for Sizing Granite.
It's been a really interesting race. It's for horses that haven't won more than one hurdle race. This is Carrickmore, and he won. He looked pretty good, in fact, when he beat Malord at Utoxeter. He's run twice since, been a beaten odds-on favourite on each occasion. A little bit disappointing. Well,
Cheltenham was all the race for the county hurl, but he completely boiled over, ran too free and ran himself to a standstill. He was pulled up. He came back and ran a good race at Liverpool since then, and had a real good run and a good handicap before that. So if he reproduces any of his good runs, he'll be hard to beat. He's the highest rated.
Emperor of Exmoor was good at Fairyhouse. Certainly the better ground seemed to help. He was able to quicken up, and that was his first win. He's 22-1, and he'll be ridden by Mark Enright.
Fleming Dawn has had run some cracking good races and won a race really well at Navan, and had won at Tramore and a canter as well. He ran very bad the last day. His trainer at Regretti says it must be in the ground. He can't find any other reason, so hopefully he's expecting a big run today.
Levant Danton is really interesting. He is an improver. He's been suffering from ulcers in the autumn. He's won one of his 4 starts over hurdles, and he was a really good bumper horse as well. He could be anything, I think. The best we haven't seen of him yet.
Sizing Granite is rated about 10 or 12 pounds behind Cheltenian, but he had a nice win the last time up at Gordon and Allres. I know Henry de Bromhead thinks a lot of him. Quite on his toes walking around the ring there. He just looks like a fella that you wouldn't want to get Quatley's cage too early.
Val de Ferbay is having only a 2nd start for William Mullins. He was an easy winner at Poe back in December. Just the 1 run for Willie, and that was really disappointing in Limerick on heavy ground. Faded tamely, and he's a way better than that. 8-1 he is.
8 is Wounded Warriors. He travelled really well at Ferryhouse, if you're watching recently, in a race won in a canter by lots of memories. Take lots of memories out of he's not beaten that far, and I expect him to run a big race here again today.
Medieval Chapel is the next we have a look at. Nicky Henderson's runner gets £6 for being a maiden, and runs in the colours of Simonon's owner, Ronnie Bartlett. Finished 4th behind his stable companion Royal Boy at Ascot, and after that was a little bit disappointing at Musselburgh.
Be Lucky again has been a good bumper mare, and a decent enough mare over hurls as well too. She's won a couple. Good run the last day behind her stable companion Andrea de Mattes at Fairyhouse, and she won't be far away with 11.5 on her back.
As Tony McCoy, of course, was a superb in Callingford Lock yesterday, and Paul Townend, I can tell you here in the ring, there's a punter has had 10,000 euros on Cheltenian at 3-1, but you can still get 3-1 about Cheltenian. And just as I speak along the rails, bookmakers has clipped back in again to 11-4, because there's also support Tom Lee for the Wexford horse, Lavant on time for Liz Doyle.
You bet your life there is. This Louis Fitzgerald turning into a tasty little betting heat on the betting exchanges as we speak. 130 each of 2. That's Cheltenian and the very well backed Lavant Danton. 2 horses at much bigger prices also being supported. We told you about the move for Carrickmore. That's shortened up again for Alan King and his team. And also Sizing Granite in the Potts colours. 11-1 in on the exchanges right now to 17-2. He's certainly fancied each way.
Yeah, memory serves me right. Cheltenian in his younger days was trained by Liz Doyle, who's now got the joint 2nd favourite Lavant Danton. So it's a good betting heat. Tony O'Hare.
Yes, they're about to be called in. Carrickmore in the red and green at the head of the group. And away we go, 2.5 miles ahead of them as they make their way towards the first flight. And Carrickmore is the leader, being followed by Be Lucky again, and then towards the outside is Sizing Granite, and they're followed over by Emperor of Exmoor on the inside, and behind them is Lavant Danton. After him is Fleming Dawn, as they come up towards the 2nd. Carrickmore the leader from Be Lucky again in 2nd. Then the Sizing Europe colours, and Sizing Granite is pumped. Lavant Danton around the outside. Emperor of Exmoor is tucked away on the rail. Fleming Dawn in behind them with Medieval Chapel. behind him is Val de Furbe. Cheltinian back in the field with only Wounded Warrior behind him as they come down the straight towards flight number 3. And Carrickmore and Wayne Hutchinson in the lead. From Be Lucky Again on the inside is Emperor of Exmoor, then Sizing Granite with Le Vent d'Antin on the outside. They're followed by Flaming Dawn and Medieval Chapel, and then comes Val de Furbe as they come up past the winning post with the full circuit ahead of them. And Carrickmore leads by a length and a half to Sizing Granite. Emperor of Exmoor shows third. Le Vent d'Antin a bit closer in fourth. Be Lucky Again is fifth. Flaming Dawn is next. Then Medieval Chapel and Val de Furbe, and together at the back Wounded Warrior and Cheltinian. This is flight number 4. Carrickmore the leader from Sizing Granite, Emperor of Exmoor, Le Vent d'Antin. Then Be Lucky Again, Flaming Dawn. Medieval Chapel the grey towards the inside ahead of Val de Furbe. Then Wounded Warrior and Cheltinian the back marker, but only about 7 lengths covering the field as they swing away and go towards the flight at the top of the course. It's number 5 in this 2.5 miler, and Carrickmore the leader from Sizing Granite. Le Vent d'Antin is next on the outside of Emperor of Exmoor, and they're followed towards the inside by Be Lucky Again, but they're all closely grouped as they head towards the far side of the track. Ted.
Yeah, the horse that's lucky to be in the race is Paul Carberry there on the Jigginstown colours. He had a bad stumble starting off, and Paul has creeped his way into it. He's a bit further back than he'd like to be. AP's horse is running quite keen. Flaming Dawn, he'd like him to switch off a little bit more than he did, but oh, there's Paul Carberry gone there. What a stab he made of that. Paul looks like he's okay, but he just threw himself at that. Tony, that's one less to call.
Wounded Warrior out of the race at that flight, and it's Carrickmore in the lead from Sizing Granite. Emperor of Exmoor is third. Le Vent d'Antin, Paul Carberry up and away okay as they head down the back towards the next flight, which will be 5 from home. And Carrickmore has been in front from the start, leads from Sizing Granite. Le Vent d'Antin close up on the outside. Emperor of Exmoor hugs the inside, followed by Flaming Dawn, and then comes Medieval Chapel. Cheltinian alongside Be Lucky Again has dropped a few places. Val de Furbe towards the back. 5 from home. Carrickmore the leader, followed by Sizing Granite, a length and a half between them. Emperor of Exmoor next on the inside of Le Vent d'Antin. Then comes Flaming Dawn in 5th, and Cheltinian getting closer towards the right of the picture as they clear the 4th last. Flaming Dawn a mistake there as they go into the turn. That'll take them towards 3 from home, and Carrickmore from Sizing Granite, Emperor of Exmoor, Le Vent d'Antin. Medieval Chapel getting closer on the inside, then Cheltinian in the pale blue. Alongside him is Flaming Dawn. Be Lucky Again is towards the back alongside Val de Furbe as they come towards the 3rd last flight. And our leader is Carrickmore from Sizing Granite. Le Vent d'Antin next. Then behind these as they come towards this flight, Emperor of Exmoor, and our leader is still Carrickmore from Le Vent d'Antin on the outside in the black and red colours. Then comes Sizing Granite, then Emperor of Exmoor being squeezed along as they come down to the 2nd last now, and it is Le Vent d'Antin who joins Carrickmore for the lead. Cheltinian still making ground around the outside. Le Vent d'Antin and Davy Russell go to the lead, followed by Cheltinian, Richard Johnson in 2nd, Carrickmore back to 3rd, Emperor of Exmoor 4, then Sizing Granite, Flaming Dawn as they swing in and begin the run for the final flight. It's Le Vent d'Antin in the lead for champion jockey Davy Russell, followed in 2nd place by Cheltinian, a gap to Emperor of Exmoor, and behind these in 4th place is Val de Furbe, has made a bit of ground, but it's Le Vent d'Antin down to the final flight from Cheltinian at the last. Le Vent d'Antin over Cheltinian, neither of them too fluent, but Le Vent d'Antin has a decisive advantage as they race into the closing stages. Le Vent d'Antin going to win it for trainer Liz Doyle, driven out by Davy Russell. Le Vent d'Antin wins the Louis Fitzgerald Hotel Hurdle. Emperor of Exmoor's up for 2nd ahead of Cheltinian, and staying on in the closing stages, Val de Furbe is 4th, Medieval Chapel, long-time leader Carrickmore, then Flaming Dawn, Be Lucky Again, and back at the tail of the field, Sizing Granite. So the 3-to-1 joint favourite, Le Vent d'Antin for the Goliath Syndicate, trainer Liz Doyle and Davy Russell in the saddle.
Well, this fella won well. He travelled beautifully for Davy all the way. He took it up before going to the 2nd last, and he knew he had a bit in the tank. He hadn't set sail for home, and when Richard Johnson appeared close to him there on Cheltinian off the last bend, Davy gave him the office to go, and he opened up again. Both horses are travelling well here, but it's Le Vent d'Antin who finds that bit more. Cheltinian, I think, gets run out of 2nd place by Emperor of Exmoor there, Desi Hughes' runner, and running on well to be fourth is Val de Ferbe, who never looked like he was going well. The winner jumped the last, as good as he jumped all the Justin. He jumped super all the way, and he's won really well. Good win for Davy Russell, a great win for Liz Lawler. Liz Doyle, this horse is always, she thought he was a hell of a horse when he won his bumper. He was a big fancy for the Cheltenham bumper and was a little disappointing, and took a bit of time to come back to his very best. Got beat a couple of maiden hurls and then won well the last day with Barry Geraghty. A bit of knee action. I'd say he wouldn't want the ground, looks like he wouldn't want the ground any quicker, but yet this is probably his best performance. We have second and third is Emperor of Exmoor and Cheltenian, which was third, but Davy just has to keep him up to his work here, and he's gone away and well. Davy's had a marvellous year. Bit of a hiccup there in the middle of it, losing the job with Jigginstown, but sure, it was a blessing in disguise. He rode a Gold Cup winner and 2 or 3 winners at Cheltenham that he mightn't have ridden, and here he is riding a big winner here again too. Well, a relatively big winner anyway, but this horse has won well. Fine big horse, looks like a right type of horse to maybe that in time might jump a fence. Plenty of scope about him. Liz Doyle does a good job with these horses. As she had Cheltenian, she also had a horse that Nichols has had that won his name just Alfaroff was another horse. She had a bumper horse, and she thought this fella was as good as any of them when he won his bumper at Leopardstown.
I'd say he's really good, and I think that there's a whole lot more in front of them. You know, she had terrible problems with him in the autumn with those ulcers, and he looked so good when he won his Leopardstown bumper, and he started joint favourite for the Cheltenham bumper last season. It was last season. He's a really nice horse, and as you say, travelled so well.
Bends his own knee a bit. You'd imagine he'd like a bit of. It's great ground. I walked Punchestown here this morning. I walked every bit of it, and I put a stick in every inch of it nearly, and it's beautiful. The chase course on here. I didn't walk the hurdle track. I've run on the chase course, and I couldn't get over how slow it was. It's great ground. They've done a marvellous job on it here. They put 10 mils on it last night, and it looked like they were going to get a drop of rain, but if they do, they won't have to put any more water on it. But it's there's winning connections. Great to see him. Big meeting in Punchestown here is very important. Liz is on the extreme left there, the fair-haired lady. Would say blonde, I suppose. Fair hair is probably a man's description, but anyway, blonde. Liz, of course, the daughter of Avril Doyle, or very famous lady in the political world. Davy was been twice champion jockey, not going to be there this year, but I'm sure he won't worry too much about that with the year he's after having. There's Liz, just giving him a pat. She was a good rider herself, Liz, as well too. Rode plenty of winners, and she's now training a nice string down there in Wexford.
Knows how to buy them, Ted. Cheltenian Alfaroff. This fella
has a good connection in France as well. Buys a good few more over there as well too. Paul Murphy is our partner, I suppose that's the way to describe him. He's very much part of the team as well. Son, Barry Murphy, a son of Ferdy's. Here's Wounded Warrior here. He's stupid. This is a brain dead horse, this fella. Look at him, he just dives straight into the middle of it. Look at him. What an ignoramus. My God. Huh? And boy, plenty of space down the hill. Watch him. Lucky Paul got a right old fall and just like, look at him. First thing he did to the ground was his head. What an ignoramus of a horse to do that. And see him at the start as well too. He's half fussy and he clipped heels here. He's gone at this stage here. It was just, there he is. Stumbly, footery bugger. I hate him.
Yeah.
Huh? Get kind of a clown
Paul's all right. That's the best news out of that. Brian's got the starting prices.
Yes, a Wexford winner at the race 2 at the Punchestown Festival. The Louis Fitzgerald hurdle goes to the giant favourite, La Vendanta for Liz Doyle, winning by 6 lengths in the hands of the old man Davy Russell. 3-1 giant favourite. The money came from the best price I saw on the ring was generally a 4-1, 7-2, even despite the 10 grand bet on Cheltenian. The punters were divided, but some of them got it right, following Liz Doyle's La Vendanta. And the son of Martin Lyon making a real good name for himself as a jumping stallion, and he wins La Vendanta, the 3-1 joint favourite. Second was Emperor of Exmoor at 16-1, and third was Cheltenian, the other 3-1 joint favourite. 10 rand. The Exchange SP 4.36 ton.
Fine training performance from Liz Doyle, and the signals were there on the betting exchanges pre-race. Despite that £10,000 bet in the ring, Cheltenham relatively easy to back in the seconds just leading up to post time. Le Vendonton did snatch favouritism on the machine, so again a real pointer, and he delivered handsomely in the end, one with a bit to spare.
And Robert is now with the winning jockey, Davy Russell. He's going to jump a fence, I'd imagine, this horse.
Yeah, Davy's with me now. Davy, we were calling you winner from a long way out.
Yeah, if anything, he travelled a little bit too much in my hands, and as Liz was telling me beforehand, he's got the one big long stride, and she was telling me to make use of that, and he travelled well and he jumped well, and you know, Liz does a marvellous job with her horses, and I think it's the first winner I've ridden for her in a long time. But
you had it in the bag here.
Yeah, I had well here, and he was just having a look at the crowd and things, so I had to keep him up to his work. But no, he'd be a nice horse for a fence next year now.
He's a lovely horse. I mean, he started favourite or joint favourite for the Cheltenham Bumper. He was a heck of a good horse last year, and just I think he had ulcers or something. Did Liz talk about them?
No, not to me. You could see how he'd like Leopardstown. You know, he was very impressed with Leopardstown, big galloping track would suit him, and I'd say that's, you know, he'd be that type of horse next year now. You know, going through the winter, fence and a big galloping track.
How did you find the ground out there? 10 mils they put on last night.
Yeah, look, we say it every year. Credit to the staff here. They've done a tip-top job on the ground, and like for all the tracks in the country, they should come here and learn out the water. Yeah, it's a great job.
Wonderful. Well done, Davy.
Thanks very much, Robert.
Yes, Liz Doyle winning there. I'm just going to ask Liz, can I quickly drive you away here? Many congratulations on that one. I was just looking at him. He's a fine-looking horse. He's got Chaser written all over.
Yeah, he's the most beautiful specimen. I finally, I think, figured out how to train him. He has very bad ulcers.
Yes, Robert, mention that to Davy. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that problem he's had.
Sometimes it's stress-induced, sometimes they just get them for no reason. They're hard to diagnose and quite slow to cure. Hence we missed all the autumn, and then it took me a while to sort of just figure out his trip, where I should have been doing that in October. I was doing it in January, February. I think I have the hang of him now. Barry got off on the last day. He was 10 lengths behind Lieutenant Colonel in a grade 2 in Fairyhouse, and he said, you know, this horse wants better ground. He had a good blow after that, so I really got stuck into him in the last 3 weeks, and I mean, that's the performance he should have shown us. You know, that type of quality horse with a huge engine, and that's the horse we thought he was, and it's really good to finish off the year, him informing us of what to do with him next year, you know.
What he's capable of, and will that be chasing next year?
Yeah, that'll probably be his last hurdle now for the time being. We'll go straight away. He's this huge, big stride, and horses like that, it takes them a while to go through the gears, you know. It's slower to wind up and to get into top gear, so we're learning about him the whole time. He's only 5, but with his French pedigree, he can go chasing no problem next year. And I was just saying to the lads, I hope he's some way as good as his grandmother Pebbles. So hopefully we can.
Wasn't she something?
Oh, amazing! I even remember her. So hopefully we can rub some of the gloss off some of the things she did.
Well, exciting times ahead. Very well done to you, Liz.
Thank you very much.